BS.
Well, la-di-da, it is I, lovable baby boy Brank, back from the dead and ready to break some bread. And I'm joined by my old arch nemesis, one of the most evil, most diabolical, most reviled people I've ever seen in my entire life. Reveal yourself, most reviled, oldest of hosts.
Why are you? Well, I feel like this is a weekly thing where you're asking me to reveal myself. I told you this show is kid-friendly. And we can't reveal anything except for gaming news, okay?
This guy with his R-rated jokes, okay? I'm trying to make this Three Ninjas, not Three Ninjas Strike Back. And you're over there trying to adult it up, adding Hulk Hogan, Three Ninjas.
Go to Magic Mountain. I remember that one.
Get your Three Ninjas references right. It's not Strikes Back, it's Kickback, and then Knuckle Up. High Noon at Mega Mountain, and then there was another one whose name I can't.
There was one called Knuckle Up.
Yeah, it's the one where
That's different kids, man. This isn't even the same original Three Ninjas.
Are you sure? I know the High Noon at Mega Mountain was not the same. They switched kids on Kickback also.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, nobody remembers those kids anyway, so who cares? They could just keep switching wherever they want. Anyways, you person who is trying to make this R-rated, who are you?
This is Jank the Despised One, also known as just Josh, you know. So I was listening. If y'all got a chance to listen to the throwback episode we posted,
we didn't.
We were just everybody was so paranoid about having their names show up on the air back then, but
oh man, we were getting canceled left and right for our controversial topics.
Man.
And the most controversial of all of us, Glassman himself. Reveal yourself, Glassman.
I feel like I should come out through a shroud or something, but yeah, it's Gerald. What's up,
cool.
dudes?
Yeah,
you guys can't hear the fog coming out of his screen right now.
I wish we could have some glass for you to break every episode, like you break through glass. So Gerald Glassford, okay?
With Limp Bizkit.
And then we should just break things and get Limp Bizkit on here.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we started this, we were talking about how great Netflix is, unprompted, mostly because none of us like Netflix shows. Jank, is there something that you've been hating on Netflix that you just hate the most that is trash? And if you're watching us live right now, you can actually see video of it.
I don't hate everything on Netflix, all right? I know Netflix, I love about 30% of their content, okay? I guess that's not, oh, there we go. Yes, I watched Devil May Cry. I was sick, last week. That's why we didn't record an episode, but I marathon.
Butt poisoning.
Butt poisoning, yes. I binged the entire thing. And let me tell you about this show, all right? It is incredibly bloody, as you can see by the trailer. And it's a love letter to the early 2000s because it is filled with your fast-talking anti-hero Dante. The soundtrack has Limp Bizkit, has Rage Against the Machine, it has Papa Roach, and none of that new junk, right? It has the classics. You have Cut My Life into Pieces.
Don't sing that. We'll get. We already got all the rest of our episodes.
And then we have Guerrilla Radio, right? And it's all like choreographed to the fights going on in the show. But hey, let's be honest for a second. Devil May Cry was like a staple of the early 2000s, right? Any kid who had a PS2, all of us, I'm sure, played it at some point, and it was awesome. And the last what?
This show, it's how many episodes is it first?
It's 8 episodes.
Okay. Why is there, we're watching this trailer. All of us have watched it now. It's actually the first time I've ever seen this. Why is there a rabbit?
So do you want me to explain that one part? Do like full,
I don't want to spoil. No, I don't want to spoiler cast. You can't just tell me why there's a rabbit without spoiling the whole
rabbit
thing?
Is the villain in the show, and the rabbit is a human who like sewed a rabbit face onto him because he was obsessed with Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Well, whatever.
So it basically
it's dark, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
So in the games, right, you don't have these like there's not any blending of like the demon world and
The human world.
human world. It's all just a world that they all seem to just exist in.
Yep.
In the show, it's all about Dante trying to stop this blending of the breaking of the barrier between the human world and the demon world. So, yeah, I mean, it queued itself. It's Johnny Young Bosch does the voice. It queued itself up for a second season. Where it's gonna go.
Yeah, like I said,
knows?
they got approved for a second season, like right on after the first week.
They did, yeah. And allegedly it's gonna have Virgil and Nero in it. So I don't know. I think that would be cool.
So Gerald, before I ask old Janky some more questions, did you watch this? I should add.
No, I have not watched it yet. Although I know we were having our conversation before we went on the air on it. I am interested in it. There are some really good things, I think, on Netflix, but they do quite a bit of what we did. I think that was a good correlation, how they throw a lot of stuff out there against the wall and sees what sticks. But they do have had, Netflix has had a lot of success in the animation category. Blue Eyed Samurai is a brilliantly animated series. Arcane, as Josh reminded me of the name, from League of Legends, that actually won awards also as well. I think both won Emmy Awards, or at least were nominated for Emmy Awards.
They were, well, they were going hard into that anime territory for a while. They had Knights of Sidonia and
Castlevania.
Kuru, I think was another Castlevania. But
the Cyberpunk anime was really cool. I actually watched. That was one of the very few ones I watched because everybody talked about it, and it was really well made.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely not everything on Netflix is terrible, but a lot of it's not
we
amazing.
could say that there's a good chunk that is. But anyways, about Devil May Cry, because you were talking about it like we all play it. I want to get everybody's Devil May Cry history real quick, because you talked to me about it's like you need to watch it. I'm like, I've only finished Devil May Cry 3.
Really?
I played about an hour of 4, maybe 2 hours of 5, if that. I played probably 3 or 4 hours of 1 back in the day and never touched 2.
Really?
Gerald, where are you at in that
I've
series?
just played the original. I've never really gone back to the series.
You never played 3. 3 is the best one by far. Like in my mind, there's not even a close second. Maybe 5, I guess. I don't know. And then Janky, where are you at with the series?
I've played all of them. I've beaten all of them.
Which is your favorite?
I will say 5 has been my favorite so far. 3 is cool. 1 is the first time you experience something like that. But also there's a whole gang of games just like that on the PS2, kind of similar play style. But yeah, I think 5 is definitely my favorite, because they took all the storylines that were like interweaving through the rest of the series and put them together in 5. And I think that worked out really well.
And you love the new Goth character. That's why you really love 5. That was your favorite character. V? Is that the name, right?
Yeah, V. Have you played it to the end? I mean,
no, I played only 2 hours.
Well,
maybe played 3
There's
levels.
a huge plot spoiler involving V.
We won't hear about it.
V is actually. I'm just gonna spoil. V is actually.
No.
What?
Why
I thought
are you
you were
spoiling
gonna,
this?
because you said you're not gonna play it. Oh my gosh!
I don't care.
All right.
What if somebody wants to finish it?
Did y'all play the remake by Ninja Theory?
DMC. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I think I played 20 minutes of it. And I shut off. I do own it.
It wasn't terrible.
And you loved it so much. We noticed you painted your body red, because we're noticing that you're
oh my gosh.
got a little bit of sun.
Let me tell you, yesterday, man. So we did the Happy Hoarder did an outdoor vendor event, and
Nice.
The wind was so strong that even with the weights on my canopy, it kept on like pushing the canopy. So I had to take the canopy down. I literally just roasted in the sun for like 4 hours.
No.
Dude.
Wow.
He doesn't believe in
lobster.
sunscreen, okay, folks?
I don't. Well, it's out. It was like 70 degrees outside, so you didn't expect that you'd end up getting sunburned. But I guess I'm too Irish to even hang out in the sun for longer than 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't be. Everybody knows if you're Irish, you cannot be in the sun for more than 20 minutes. Anyways, enough about trash shows like... No, I'm just joking. We'll watch Devil May Cry and we'll report back. Gerald and I will be the defining answer whether it's good or not. There was another video game show that just launched yesterday, and I did watch the first episode. Not going to spoil much, but I'm going to talk about it. Did either of you guys watch The Last of Us season 2?
Not yet. I plan to.
Okay.
Obviously, season 1 was a brilliant first season, and we've
Phenomenal.
talked about it. Josh and I did on the Pop Culture Cosmos, where we thought it was one of the best video game adaptations ever. Was that first season?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll definitely. I know I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. But I think the question is, they've already talked about, as far as the individuals behind the series, talked about how they're going to split into 2 seasons what happens in the second game, which is what takes place right now. As far as season 2 is they're going into the second game, so they're trying to split out into 2 seasons. Curious,
Which
I think
Are they gonna do a remastered first season and second season, and then a remake of the first?
they're
and
going
second
to
season?
remaster
Exactly.
the first
So
season before the second
in
season
8K.
is done.
In 8K, they're gonna. Yeah. So, I'm just
but
curious though. At the end of this season, will it be Pedro Pascal
saying goodbye?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, he will say goodbye just so he could retire in a countryside, just like he does
Well,
in the game.
he's doing
where he
500
retires. I'm not
million,
gonna spoil
million
it
other
for you.
projects right now. If you see his name popping up on a new project seemingly every week that gets released, but I'll just say that again is based on his character and based on what happens in the game. I'm assuming that moment when his character meets an untimely demise,
Character
unless they've
says
changed
hello
it,
to other good people.
unless they've changed it, probably
Let's
will be
see.
timed out to the end of season 2.
Okay, and then quick question before we get this: we all watched season 1, correct? Did either of you play Last of Us Part 2?
I've played both and struggled to get
You
through
play
both.
all of Part 2?
I can't get through them. Their gameplay.
I
I love Naughty Dog to death. I have an Uncharted back here as far as Uncharted standee. Uncharted is one of my
Yeah.
favorite game series of all time. Last of Us, love the storytelling. I've actually watched all the cutscenes from both games.
Yeah, okay.
I can't get through it because the gameplay. Gameplay is absolutely
It's
just beyond
not
frustrating.
what you like. Okay, I got you. I was just curious. Janky, you play? I know you played one.
I
right?
get a few
What are you
hours
talking
in, and
Yeah.
there just is some mechanics I just do not find fun. It just becomes frustrating.
I did play one. I don't like the sneaking. Like, it's just not like, it's a lot of like having to not make noise and alert people in that game, and I struggle with that. So yes, I did play it, but I played a lot of it begrudgingly and just to be part of the conversation, if that makes sense.
And did you ever play 2?
I never played 2, no.
Okay. Yeah, I finished 2 and I finished 1. I think after playing it, I think 2 is the much, much better game of the 2 in both like mechanics, game quality, a lot of things, but it is also like 20 plus hours, which is a long thing for a fairly linear narrative single player game, especially compared to 1, which I want to say is like a 12-hour game, maybe 14 hours, So it's probably closer to 30 hours, but I want to say it's like about 20. So I get why they split season 2 of the TV show into 2 seasons, right? I get why it's season 2 and season 3 is going to cover the second game because it is a meaty thing. And if they're doing like they did in episode 1, where they're telling stuff that isn't exactly one-to-one with the game, then it's going to take even longer, And that's what they did with season 1 too, right? Like they didn't have a bunch of backstory for, what was his name, Bill? The character that was played by Nick Offerman in season 1. Yeah, he was, I think, mentioned in a note. I can't even remember.
He was a very small character in the game, but they made and devoted an episode. To, which was one of the best episodes in that entire season.
Yeah, it was a great episode, but I'm just getting at, though, like, if they do that, they need 2 seasons, right? Like, there's
well, they're stretching it out. They're stretching
yeah.
Last of Us 2 out to 2 seasons. Is what they're doing.
And historically, I'm kind of against that as I've gotten older. Like after we've been trying to rewatch The Hobbits, and that was like, should have been a movie, maybe a movie and a half. I'm tired of people stretching things out. I didn't watch the new Wicked.
Tell that
but
to
the
Warner
fact
Brothers and the $3 billion they made off the Hobbit films.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying
Wicked.
I disagree with you. I'm just saying that's ultimately that,
I just get tired of this stretching out when it's unnecessary, but we'll see how they do with Last of Us. But go ahead.
So I'm sorry, I was just going to say a couple things. Like the one with there's a new Lord of the Rings coming out with
The Hunt for Gollum.
Hunt for Gollum, and honestly, I have no desire to go back to that storyline. Like Gollum, he lived, he died. I don't want to see any more of it. I don't care. But also like I guess I need to see what happens. I don't know.
I saw that Lord of the Rings anime. It was not good. I think
it was a 5.
Oh, you watched it?
I watched it too. It was not. I wouldn't rate it below a 5, but I definitely wouldn't rate it above a 5. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, this exists, and I watched it.
It was a hey, we have to keep the licensing rights, which means they have to make a movie every 10 years. So let's do this thing because it's lower budget. Is what it felt like.
That's exactly what the director said in an interview. So
and it was just I mean, so for me, like Lord of the Rings, it's not dead, right? Like, but I was never like the biggest Lord of the Rings fan. Like, I just love the original 3 films. Like, I never read the books, and out of the books, I read The Hobbit, which I liked, and we're trying to get through those 3 movies. They are not good. After the first one, the quality level.
Sorry, which one?
Dips.
The Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit?
The Hobbit. Oh, Lord of the Rings, all 3 of them are incredible movies. I could watch any of those any day of the week. They're all great. Outside of like 3 CGI shots in Return of the King, it still holds up, right? Incredibly well. And one dumb CGI shot in 2 Towers where Legolas gets on a warg or whatever, and you look at it and you're like, this is bad. The rest of it holds up really well. The Hobbit is less like that. But we've talked enough about TV shows and movies and games and game movies, and one of these days we should create a list of like best TV game adaptations, because Fallout TV is definitely in there for me too. Like the Fallout TV show. I don't know what you guys think of that.
Yes,
that was incredible.
Well done.
But before we get to the big new games that came out since the last time we talked to you, and then a ton of cool news, Janky, you've been playing something old school that you've been loving on that you wanted to talk to us about. I'm going to show that up on the screen while you discuss it. What are you talking about, my friend?
Yeah, I picked up, so I had, back in the day, like I had listened to you and Dr. Donna talk about Like a Dragon, but I had never like played it. And so now I finally, like I have it on PS5, and I sat down. I was getting tired of Pal World, so I sat down, played Like a Dragon, and it is just as good as you guys said it was. Like this is the most unassuming video game that I think I've ever played, because I did not expect it to be anything like what it is.
It's incredible. I mean, I think for a turn-based RPG, it is one of the most dynamic turn-based games I can think of. And there are very few games where the story draws me through it. That's what a Naughty Dog game I would say is, like Last of Us Part 2. Story drew me through it. This game, that's mainly, not that the gameplay isn't fun. I find the gameplay to be pretty fun too, but you want to get to each story point.
Yeah. Well, it has, the story is really well written. Like the game itself is absolutely ridiculous, right? But the story is still amazing. Like it's still very engaging, and the story is serious, but the rest of it is not. Like I've never played anything like this in my life, and I find myself, it's been so long since I have been like, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens next in this game. Like I'll stay up, later than I should playing this, and then I will think about it all the next day, like, oh man, I can't wait to see like what happens in the rest of this chapter. And the chapters are pretty long. I mean, they're about an hour to 2 hours each. So
it's a 70 to 80 hour game. You could maybe do it in 50 or 60 if you really just mainline the story. But if you engage with any of the incredibly fun mini games, whether it's like the test quiz mini game, have you got to that part yet, where you can go to the place and take all the quizzes and grow your character?
No. So I unlocked the mini game where you can race around on the bicycle and collect cans.
Okay. You're still pretty early on then.
Yeah, and I did the Sega arcade. Like I played all the way through Virtua Fighter, which was really cool.
The fact they have that many games, old Sega classics, that's one cool thing that Sega does that Nintendo only did in the original Animal Crossing on GameCube, where they let you buy the NES games and play them at your house. But like so many of these other companies don't want to like give you their old games inside of their new games. And it's such a fun treat when you see that and you're like, oh, I actually can play all of Sega Bass Pro Fishing from the Dreamcast, which was also an arcade title. Yeah. Did you guys ever play that game back in the day?
Yeah, I remember it.
That game was super fun. Gerald, before I get to a couple of the new titles I've been playing, is there anything that you want to speak to? I brought this up last episode. We never really got to hear your final thoughts on Avowed because I kind of rushed you through it. You said you finished it.
73. Well, I finished the main story. I may go back and try to 100% it. 73 hours is what I clocked in on. So
what's a key takeaway without spoiling any of the story beats? What do you think really drew you through that game?
The absolute the loot as far as just everywhere is plentiful. It always and it substantive. It's not just junk always given to you. It's always something very interesting. Of course, leading on to the gameplay itself. For me, I just thought the gameplay was engaging. Something I adapted to. I'm more of a ranged person, so I started out with a bow, but as soon as I realized that the rifle was probably a better thing for me to get and build up, and once I built that up to the maximum, which took a long time in doing so, it was really a lot of fun as far as being able to go to bosses and just being able to not necessarily one-hit them, because they would still provide a challenge as far as the top-level bosses, but still be able to go ahead and get them within about 4 or 5 shots, which absolutely just leveled the playing field. Minor quips as far as the little bit of the story. I will say that not even though the story centers around you and 4 companions, you're only able to take 2 at a time, which was kind of disappointing because the end tries to involve all 4 characters. And I would have loved to have had all of them by my side throughout the entire campaign to make it feel more fulfilling. I don't understand with today's technology why they didn't do that. But otherwise, the gameplay was very engaging throughout, which is why I would go back to doing it because it's just absolutely was fun. And again, whether or not you get into the story, I understand that. And also, we mentioned this before. I wish the amount of variance in the enemies would have. I probably would have told them I would have doubled the amount of variance because it did get a little samey as far as who you're going up against. But outside of that,
every zone has like 3 enemies.
Yeah, exactly. And the enemy types were just kind of a little bit samey, and I just wish they had diversified themselves a little bit more. But outside of that, it's a very strong 8.5 for me as far as overall is what I would give it. But yeah, again, the gameplay itself is extremely engaging and one of the best RPGs I played in quite some time.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, man. I kind of second kind of the idea of why don't they have 4 party members?
Yeah, it seemed ridiculous. You don't have to take them if you don't want to, but you have a selection of 4. It's like the Mass Effect thing, and I understand why in 2007 you couldn't do it, but in 2025 you should be able to do it. So that's again,
that's kind of just what people expect, though, right?
Yeah,
just the 3-party system.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but
this guy's a jackass, by the way, that you just had on the screen. Just
the guy from the first zone. Do you see him later on?
Yes,
I take it
yes,
then?
you do, and he's still a complete jackass. But, yeah,
I just for me, when you have that small of a party with 4 people total, and you also want to include them in everything. Just let you take all 4 of them.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Let the party be 5.
There should be no technological barriers now to prevent you from doing so. And it seems like it's a smaller world, and they advertise as a smaller world, but it's still large enough to be very expansive. But it doesn't leave you like a ton of dead space, I should say, as far as for the next action piece per se. There's always some action around the corner. But I will say another thing is once you clear out an area, it's cleared out for good. And so it's good and bad in one way. So the bad is obviously you won't be able to meet new enemies in that area you've already covered. But it will at least tell you, once you get way deep into the game, which areas you've already been through and been by in case you lose track. So it's
how do you level? I mean, I've played I've played the first 4 hours of this game, but like if you can't go back and level up by fighting the same enemies again? Is that later on in the game? Is that what's going on?
Well, you have an abundance of enemies that are always in front of you that you're always going on, but once you clear out a space in an area, they're not going to regenerate. There's no enemies that are going to regenerate. But trust me, there are plenty. As long as you keep trying to go ahead and to find areas, you don't even have to stay in the storyline. If you just go find and just find random areas or go to random cities or whatnot, you can find plenty of trouble. And I would be completing missions even before they were issued to me. to give you an example of that. So I would just be going off and doing random things, be killing mid-level bosses and whatnot, and I didn't even know that they were not connected to the storyline, and sometimes they weren't, but I would be going and later on meeting someone that says, oh yeah, I was looking for someone to go ahead and kill this guy. Oh, I already killed him for you. Hey, all right, yeah, here's some money. There you go. All right, sweet. But the looting is obviously enjoyable. For any advice out there,
platforming is a lot of fun.
Yeah, platforming.
Too.
Yeah, I wasn't into it first, but I grew to really like it. I'll note that to you, Brank. I compliment you on that because you connected with it right away. It took me a little bit, but I did end up liking it. But I will say 3 things you'll need: potions at first, lots of grenades. Get yourself lots and lots and lots of grenades over the course of time. And number 3, build up one weapon. Build up one weapon or your spells, and then you'll be able to max out. Once you max that out or really high level it, you're really going to be enjoying the game thoroughly.
Yeah, it really is a game that expects you to do a lot of the side content. It's not a game to mainline, in my experience at least. Like, if you mainline, I think it's going to be a challenging game the entire way through.
I just got interested. I would be following the main story, Brank, but I just got diverted. There were things that I said, oh, I'd like to go ahead and check this out, or oh, there might be some good stuff here. Once you start the looting becomes very attractive because you think, oh, there's an area over there. I bet you there's a ton of treasure chests over there that I would even go ahead and take a look at. So yeah, it's very appealing in that sense.
Yeah, they did a great job with the, it's not my favorite. I prefer open world to open zone, but they did a really good job with the open zone experiment, right? Where they have the little different areas. Before I get to my 2 biggies, which some of you guys might have things to add, Gerald, you got anything else new that you've been playing?
Just getting back into Indiana Jones. I'm kind of disappointed that MLB for this year was not put on Game Pass because last year I told you it was one of my best of. So I think PlayStation learned its lesson. How everybody say, okay, you want to play it for a lot cheaper, a good game for a lot cheaper, go to Xbox. And yeah, unfortunately, that's not the case this time around as of yet. But so I'm waiting for that. Hopefully, maybe that will be reversing itself. But until then, I'm just doing Indiana Jones. The South of Midnight, I have not actually started yet. I know that just came out. I know we're going to go ahead and discuss that a little bit. Some favorable reviews for that game. But yeah, just trying to get back into Indiana Jones.
All right, nice. Yeah, I love Indy. I mean, that was such a fun game. I thought about 100%ing it, but the things I would have to do to 100% it just would leave a bad taste in my mouth.
And now that's on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I could go do that. I could buy it again. I guess not buy it because I just played it on Game Pass. Before I get to the 2 biggies that came out this week, and I played a little bit of each of them, I want to mention that everybody here on Earth, not just in this podcast, but on Earth, should play Chrono Trigger. I've been playing that on my Steam Deck. It is still incredible. One of the greatest games ever. And if you want to play it currently, the easiest way is either Steam or iOS or Android. And then I've still been dipping my toes into Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's been a really fun game to turn my mind off and go do a big castle and go, assassinate enemies and then keep moving on. Overall, I think it's not a good game, but I've had fun kind of just doing its loop over and over and over again. I'm curious what you guys think of it whenever you get to it, but I feel like the Assassin's Creed series in my mind is done. I don't know if I'll be purchasing anymore after this one.
Yeah.
Because even though I think it's probably the best one since Odyssey, I just, there's nothing interesting about it, right? Outside of just going around assassinating people.
What is, so I haven't even played it yet. I mean, what is the modern scenario in the game?
I haven't run into a modern scenario at all yet. But for me, that was never like a draw. I never actually liked the anime stuff. So I had like moments in 1 and 2 where I thought it was cool, but even the first time it happened, I was pissed. Like I was actually angry the first time it happened in Assassin's Creed 1. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah,
and I thought
that was not revealed at all in anything.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, so you get
it was a surprise.
Yeah, and I remember that too because I stopped playing the game for several weeks because like, oh, this is so stupid. It's not what they told me it was. And then eventually I went back to it and I had an okay time.
Yeah, it's funny because there's no modern thing, which should make me like it more, and they made it way more contemplative, which I think if I was like 20, this might be my favorite Assassin's Creed ever, because it's just like it's made to explore and see, and they made it like Japan, so there's a lot of just open area with trees, which is a hill, and you can't go over it.
Yeah.
But really what has killed it as like being a good game in my mind is the story being incredibly weak and boring outside of like a couple cool cutscenes early on. And then Yasuke, honestly, just the whole way they implemented his character. And that's the police coming to get me because I know I'm not allowed to say anything about Yasuke. So, no, but honestly, the way they made that character where you can't do stealth assassinations, you can't climb buildings, you can't do all this stuff, you can't hot swap between the characters. So you have to decide before you go to a castle whether you want to go full combat or full assassination. And with Naue, at least I can kind of fight a couple guys if it's combat once you get good. But like Yasuke, you don't get any other choice. And for me, that's just such a bad design decision for an Assassin's Creed game.
Can you?
Right? Like,
you can't use the girl to do just regular fighting. Everything with her has to be like shadow based.
No. You can fight. She's just incredibly weak. So say you get into a fight with one of the bigger enemies in the game, and you don't assassinate them, you're going to be fighting for like 5 or 6 minutes, and if they hit you 2 times, you die. Yeah. So you're just supposed to only do assassinations with her, right? They really punish you if you get into like open combat with her. However, Yasuke can't assassinate anyone, or if he does, he gets, I think, 1 assassination early on, and then it alerts everyone nearby. So you cannot do an assassination run, and you can't climb things. So you couldn't even like climb over like a building to get, like, there's very limited climbing. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating enough because, they both have different weapon sets. So it's like, if I actually want to see all 6 of the weapons in the game, I have to play as both. But I also don't want to play as Yasuke because I can't even do you can't do any of the viewpoints. No viewpoints in the game if you play as Yasuke. That's crazy. Like, there's an achievement for dropping into a bale of hay or whatever, a pile of hay as Yasuke, because you don't do it. Your character falls into one. So it's like, it's just crazy they made a character that they were like, hey, we're making this character this way. You have to play him this way. And guess what? The other character is going to be weaker because we want to make this duo dynamic. It blows my mind because I think it truly could have been with a better story and a better implementation. Even if it was hot swapping that let me switch between them like a tag team system, I think I would have actually loved it more. So the biggies from this week, and I played both of them. The first one is a little game I like to call Blueprints. Now, for those of you who are watching this screen, you might know Blueprints, and it's not blueprints like plans that you draw on. It's a Blueprints is the title, like a king's son. It is a roguelike first-person puzzle game where you there's doors, and you use like drafting mechanics where you have 3 different, essentially like cards that pop up that let you choose different rooms, right? And each of these rooms will have different perks involved. And the idea is you have to use those doors to get from one side of the house to the other. Now, the problem is you need to get keys to unlock certain doors and all this stuff. And then the part that I haven't experienced yet is supposedly there are a lot of overarching puzzles that you will experience.
You're supposed to be looking for a 46 room in a 45 room mansion.
Yeah, and they tell you where it is. It's not like a hidden thing. It's at the other side. You have to get there, right? You have to go through the antechamber. But like getting there is really hard because so far I've done about 5 runs. It takes about, I don't know, I'd say 10 or 15 minutes per run because you're normally walking around each room pretty slowly looking at things. And on top of like that, there's also this step mechanic where every time you enter a room, you use a step out of, I think you have 46 steps or 47 steps to start with. So if you keep backtracking, you're just killing your steps. But you can also get rooms like bedrooms that give you 10 extra steps, but they won't have any exits out, right? So there's just like a lot of different really interesting mechanics. Now, the reason why I don't have much to say beyond the fact I probably only played about 2 hours of it is it just doesn't seem like the game really opens up till you figure out whatever the hidden puzzles are. Because I've actually only seen 2 puzzles in the game so far. So I don't know where the other puzzles are, but according to the internet, it is a game where I've already seen all the puzzles, or a lot of them. I just didn't know I've seen them, if that makes sense, right? If you guys played The Witness, they had that same kind of idea and mechanic where there were puzzles that you would solve, and then there were actual puzzles that were part of the world, but that you didn't know.
So are you going to beat it? Are you going to finish it?
Oh, I don't think so. I think most people will finish it spend anywhere from 60 to 100 hours.
Ugh.
So it's not my style game. I do kind of want to figure out what the puzzles are, so I might play more. But I've also been dinking around with, and this is the biggie that Xbox Game Pass has been talking about now for roughly, what would you guys say? Almost 2 years now, South of Midnight? Yeah. I turned that on. I don't know how many chapters there are. I'm in chapter 3, probably close to the end of it. It is a very Uncharted-like game where you climb on, different ledges that have colored areas with a really, really cool stop-motion animation style and a really mediocre combat system.
That's the one thing I haven't enjoyed about it is the combat. It just feels it's very... we talk about Horizon feeling clunky, like that's what the combat in this one feels like. But everything else about the game, like I'm enjoying. I love the like the story. I love the world is super interesting. Cool. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm digging it.
I'm there with you. I'd like to finish this one through. I think the music's incredible.
I think
about
the
15
story is
really interesting
to finish.
Yeah, so it's not too bad in terms of length, right? Like I've liked what I've seen. I do wish they didn't do the locked arena combat. It's just boring. It's very 360 era game in a lot of ways.
Well, I think that's what their idea was, that they that this was a throwback to those PS2, Xbox 360, Xbox, original Xbox type deal. That 2005, 2006 type feel. I think that is a very direct, from what all the footage I've seen so far, it looks like a direct homage to that era. Like, for instance, what we were playing with Like a Pirate. I've told you, Like a Pirate felt like I was just turning on
Like a Dragon?
No, the
pirate one, the Pirate Yakuza one.
That
Yeah,
felt
I gotcha.
like a PlayStation 2. Like I could just put, push that on and started playing it from there. It just felt PS2-ish. This definitely does have that feel like a 2006, 2007 game.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I think there's a lot of things that are like that make it both interesting, but I will say the counterpoint is, like, I think Uncharted 1 is the one that holds up the worst, right, out of the series, right? Uncharted 1 is probably the most boring of the 4 or 5 Uncharted games.
Well, I love them all, but I would agree with you. Uncharted 1 is the one that doesn't hold up the best. So I would agree.
And this feels like an Uncharted 1, in my opinion, right? Like gameplay wise. Like, that being said, like
except for Uncharted 4, where Josh and I are still circling the island as we speak, because it kept on taking you
in the boat,
round and round.
I've never actually finished Uncharted 4. It was way too long. I know
because you're still going around the island.
Long games.
It's the longest boat ride ever. So South of Midnight, one thing that I one thing that I don't like about dying every time you step foot in the water bothers me.
Yeah, I heard that.
Like, I wish that you could like swim. Like, I want to be able to swim because they have such really cool like scenery. The world looks so explorable, but you can't explore all of it, and that's a lot of it, something. Yeah, and that's something that it feels like a really big missed opportunity.
I feel like they just didn't want to spend the resources to make swimming animations, if I'm being honest with you. I really, truly feel like that was it, because otherwise I think they would have had it and then thrown in like some piranhas or something if there was areas they didn't want you to go in, right? Or like the alligator or whatever, right? But I do feel like this is a game where there was a lot of economic decisions made. Which is something we don't see very often, but I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of. And with that, we don't have a ton of time to talk about the news. Let's hit some of the big topics, though, real quick. Up on the screen, I'm going to show you guys the big announcement from this weekend. One of our old favorite companies that we used to watch all of their games, old Bungie, announced Marathon, and it's coming out to PS5, Xbox, and PC. I watched some of the trailers, watched some of the gameplay. It looks cool. I don't think I'm gonna play it. Did you guys watch any of this stuff? And are you guys interested in it?
I watched quite a bit of it as far as the stuff that they put out on Saturday, because I let you guys know on that one. I'm interested. I mean, as someone who played the Destiny beta for a full month, I was just actually going through my old logs as far as streams, and quite a few from the era. But as Josh and I told you, we've got some thoughts on it, but I'll let Josh go first on it.
So I'm interested in it, interested enough, but like, okay, Bungie is a company that they've kind of become like a one-trick pony. Like they created Halo, and Halo has this beautiful story to tell, but they don't really tell stories that much anymore, and that's kind of what I loved about their game. So I don't have any desire to just play a multiplayer game. Like I know this has some sort of single player element to it, but this looks like it's trying to be an Overwatch clone.
Yeah, it's supposed to actually be more like Escape from Tarkov, which was like, I guess, like an indie, I forgot what they're called, but like a game where you, they have like a name for it, like not escape thriller, but like
Escape from Tarkov or something like that.
Yeah, Escape from Tarkov, but it has like a name. They have like a game definition nowadays of it, but what do they call this?
Well, I could tell you as someone
extraction.
It's an extraction shooter. Yes, it's a team based. I think you're with 3 people, and then you can play against up to 18 people. More on it. This is not the Marathon I remember playing a long time ago. I'll just leave it at that. It's not story based. I know they tried to say that there's some kind of story, but it's not really, and it won't be relied upon. And as Josh and I discussed briefly on the Pop Culture Cosmos about it, we said we'd save the most of it for here. Got to read the fine print at the bottom of the screen during the course of that there's a possibly, or let's just put it out there, there's going to be a monthly subscription fee, I think is what was said.
Wait, what?
Yeah. If you take a look at the fine print on it, that they said there may be a monthly subscription fee when you look at it. This will not be a free-to-play game. Whether or not
it's definitely going to be a full price title, they said.
But it's going
to be a premium.
There is, if you look at it, it says in the fine print during the course that they show in one of the trailers, it says there may be a monthly subscription fee added as well. So
I don't think they'll do that, Gerald. That would literally be suicide.
That's what they do, though. I mean, look at Bungie was like that too, wasn't it?
Well, they've had one success with Helldivers. And they've had one failure with Concord, which I'm still waiting for the value to go up on. But, that's up.
Yeah. We haven't seen a game come out with a monthly subscription since the old MMORPGs, right? Like, no games have really tried it, because the last one I can think of was a Sony game from years ago called Planet Side, if you remember. Mm-hmm. The original one, I want to say, was like a monthly subscription. I could be wrong, but I just remember like what the game was, and I think it was monthly sub. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do think Marathon will probably be out for about $40-$50.
They're pricing at 40 right now. A lot of people are predicting.
That's what they're predicting. I don't think we're going to have time to talk about the Switch 2 news today, because it is so much and so big. But before we wrap up, we should discuss, because price is just becoming something, the PS5. We'll discuss that, because that is still new, and it kind of sticks around with Marathon. If you guys notice, they're raising the price of the PS5 in a lot of regions, not the US, not Japan.
Online
but in,
multiplayer subscription included.
Japan is like $800 to $900, wasn't it? Last I checked.
I don't know. I'm checking right now.
Sorry, guys.
It's also hard. So it's
I was just trying to confirm
yen.
that. Online multiplayer subscription may be included.
Oh, okay. So they're probably trying to get you to a PS Plus. That is what they might say, which actually would be that would fit, because if you remember, Xbox and PlayStation have this agreement where if the game is free, then you don't have to pay for the premium services, right? Mm-hmm. But if the game is paid, then you have to. That's why Call of Duty still requires like some level of Xbox Live.
I hope you're right on that.
I'm almost positive that's what they're doing, because that's why I believe they're charging money for this, because there was some weird law that came out during Fortnite, or I don't even know if it was a law, but a lot of those games, if you remember, you used to have to pay for Xbox Live or PS Plus to access them, and then they reversed that. I want to say PlayStation did that first, then Xbox. This was in the PS 4 cycle. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up, which I thought was funny, with if you guys remember, the PS4 slogan was "Play has no limits." Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with this new price increase, I did see one of my favorite comments ever, which is Sony's new slogan: "Price has no limit."
It really doesn't.
I am curious what's going to happen with the pricing here, and like I said, I want to spend a lot of time diving into the Switch 2 when we talk about it. But like the fact we don't know what that's even going to cost, it could stay at $450, which is still a lot of money. It could go $550, $600. We don't even know. I'm thinking they're going to keep it at $450, especially because the tariffs dropped to 10%. But do you guys have anything you want to add there? We won't talk about the whole Switch 2 Direct because it's just too much.
So this is just for the Pro models, right? This is not the standard.
No,
ones?
for the PS5, this is the standards that they're. I actually don't think the Pro's doing well enough for them to affect the price at all, from what I understand.
Yeah.
I think the PS5 Pro is like, I don't think it's sold many copies. I feel like I haven't even heard of the PS5 Pro.
It
before
died
you brought
a horrible death, like many Sony paraphernalia before it.
Yeah,
Jeez,
it is a little wild.
PS5 Ultra with the Blu-ray disc drive in New Zealand is $950.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same as the Pro. I think that's the normal.
Standard PS5. What I mean?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy, man. In Australia, it's $830.
And I did look into those countries. A lot of them do have a higher average wage than here, but not that much higher, right? So like a lot of the people there earn between $6,000 and $7,000 of their dollars per month. That doesn't mean everybody does, mind you, but a lot of their people do. But that's still a lot of money, right? To like ask them to pay $900 for a console. And then as you know, we won't get into the full Switch 2 Direct with the games and everything, but as Nintendo's pushing the price to potentially $80, $90 for their games, I think we're going to start seeing more games. Wasn't there another game that was announced recently over the weekend that is now $80 as well? And it was like very surprising that it was like a non-Nintendo title.
I'm not sure.
Does this ring a bell for either of you guys?
It could be Marathon, for all we know.
No, that'd be super funny. I am almost positive that is another game that I read about that was like, people have been waiting for someone to, kick the wheels off, right? So I think we're going to be seeing games going up, tariffs or not, or whatever, right? Everything's more expensive. Things are going up.
They needed an excuse to raise. Yeah. They've been looking for an excuse to raise game prices for a really long time, and they found it. Congratulations.
It's funny. Also, like, what actually you're going to see in front of every game or console trailer now, just like a UFC fight or a WrestleMania card at the very bottom in as far as the fine print, subject to change without notice.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to get Black Friday deals will just be standard pricing.
Yes. It is. I mean, to be fair, like I was looking at, like, I watched Cheap Ass Gamer a lot to see new games and stuff. And one of the games, Stellar Blade, it was like on sale for $45 or $40. And I was like, man, it's funny to think that that's the sale price for things now, right? Like, I remember when the MSRP for most games was $50, right? Because that was the whole PS2 era. Like, obviously, I remember when I was a kid, before I had the money to buy things, games did not have standard MSRP. I want to say the Nintendo 64 was roughly $60 for most games, but they also had variable pricing. But the PS2 really solidified the $50 game. And then it was the PS3 that brought it up to $60. And maybe like the end of the PS2 was also $60. I want to say Final Fantasy 12 might have launched at $60. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm
PS3
just saying, though,
launched
and now,
what the PS3 was $600 as far as the base. I got the 60 gig, which is closer to $7. So at the time I bought it first day. So
yeah.
So there's an article by IGN actually back in January when they're talking about how some people within Rockstar, who they make Grand Theft Auto, want the game priced at $100. Like they're hoping to get that. It's going to be priced at a minimum of $70.
Yeah, I we'll see. I mean, it could be $100, right? If Mario Kart World is worth $80, right? And to be fair, I've put in probably 30 or 40 hours on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's probably a game that is worth that price, right? If you can look at it as like hey, I'm getting this much more value out of it than other games, but yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto is probably going to be worth more time than Mario Kart World.
It's going to be
100. You really think it's going to be 100?
It's going to be 100.
I don't know, man.
Standard edition. $100.
Yeah, that sounds right, man. That's where we're going.
2K loves its money, Brank. 2K loves its money. Plus, they're finding every which way they can gonna nickel and dime GTA you to death. They love those microtransactions. Love those microtransactions.
I mean, I love those transactions as well. I love them. But I will say, like, there was a lot of positives about the Switch 2 Direct. We'll go into it in depth in another episode because I really do want to talk about a lot of the games announced. But the pricing stuff from the PlayStation, from Switch, from Marathon, it's coming at a hard time. Sadly, there are not a lot of people doing well in most of the world.
It's tone deaf,
and I don't
very tone deaf.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm curious what the world's going to look like. Like Jank, I know you've got a family and a lot of people in your life. Are you going to feel priced out of gaming at a certain point?
I'm starting to feel it right now. Like $60 seemed was a push for me, but now like $70 is just that $10 difference makes it feel like I'm taking food off of our table,
Yeah. Are you going to get the Switch 2 at launch or no? Even at say it's a $450, say it doesn't go up.
I would like to, but it's that's a lot of money. It's
no, that's fair.
The only way I will get one at launch is if I'm able to resell it. Simple as that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You're only scalping.
See, the buyer is Humanican Media. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, knowing Jank, he's going to pay $900
because I got FOMO.
When you did that, I was just like, Josh, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, I feel like it's funny because you talk about getting priced out of stuff, but you also spend the most money out of anyone I know on the console.
I know. And I regret it, man. I regret it because I know
it's all right.
I should have waited, because 3 months later they became, more readily available. But still, I got really bad FOMO when those consoles came out.
I think the funniest one for me, and I feel bad making fun of you on this podcast about it, was you getting the PS5 for Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. Did you ever play it?
Yeah,
we talked about it on the show, and it took you
right before Rebirth came out.
But I'm just saying, it took you forever to play it, right? Like
I know.
Didn't you get I think you got the PS5 for that game. I think I remember talking to you and being like, I really want to play this. And
sat in our wrapper for 6 months.
Dude, yeah, it's just so funny. But yeah, man, I also don't think the Switch 2 is going to scalp as high as the Switch 1 or the Series X or the PS5. I sell stuff on eBay at times still on occasion, and 2 years ago things sold so quickly, and now things just don't. People just are, they're not throwing their money away like they used to, and some people still are, but I think the people who are gaming as a hobby, I don't think they just have this infinite cash like they used to. So yeah, dudes, that's a dire way to end this podcast. But we got so much more to talk about. I'm sure next week, hopefully you boys will have watched both of the Last of Us Season 2 episodes, so we can be caught up. And I don't think Expedition 33 will be out by the time we record, but that's coming out soon.
That's been a darling so far as advanced look from critics. I know they're really high on that. In fact, again, I will go back and tell people, and Josh and I have been on Soapbox talking about this on the Cosmos, about how good of value Game Pass is. If you're a PlayStation owner and talking about the value of money right now, the best value in gaming is Game Pass. I have no idea why you are still paying all this extra money to play the same games that Josh, you, and I can play on Game Pass right now with a click of a button.
I have I have a shameful admittance to make here. I do plan on buying Forza on PS5.
Why?
Just for the experience of playing Forza on the PlayStation. I'm actually really excited to do that.
We literally just talked to you about being priced out of stuff.
I know, but I just like there's something in my head that is like, it'd be really cool to play Forza on PlayStation.
Will you at least wait for it to be on sale?
No, probably. I know. I got FOMO. That's why I spent $800 on a PS5. Man, I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Well, hey, if you want good economic advice, please come check in. We got Jank for you here. He's going to tell you the right things to do with your money.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. Is ultimately, it's pricing itself out. The games industry is pricing itself out of consumers' hands. So the one thing that
not Josh's, he'll keep buying it.
Well, that's Josh is like the outlier in all of this.
I'll complain about it, but
yeah. But
I'll complain about it, and then I'll buy it twice.
Yes, but the thing I want to ask is, if there's still a value out there that gives you current first run games and it's only $20 a month, that's still to be as a great value out there. I know we all moaned and groaned when Game Pass was moved up to $20, but now that all these games are coming out that are Xbox that are coming out there first, it just seems like it's just so much of a better value now because Avowed, Indiana Jones, South of Midnight, Clair Obscur, Atom Fall. There's all these games that are coming out to it right now. So
yeah, I agree with you. I am curious if it will have a dry spell again, because last year there was quite a bit of a dry spell, but Xbox comes in waves. I'm hoping this summer, one of the things we didn't talk about because there was too much, they announced their the Xbox showcase. It's going to be in June. They also talked more about the Outer Worlds 2. That's going to be their big showcase title. So I guess Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 are going to both come out in 2025, which is wild. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's some downtime. Right now, Game Pass is insane, right? Like April has South of Midnight, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Blueprints, Blueprints is also on the PlayStation
and then May
Premium.
It's Doom, which is coming out on PS5. But do you want to pay $70 on PS5 or a month on Game Pass at $20?
And there's also a chance that this dumb Oblivion remake is going to come out at some point that people keep talking about.
I'm sure we'll hear something about that in June.
I just think it's dumb that they kept saying it's going to come out. There was this guy named Nate the Hate that was getting all this.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an April
right?
release, right? That he predicted April release. Yeah. Well, there's 16 days left, so. We'll see.
I guess the person who did it also deleted their account. So the person, I thought it was Nate the Hate, but I guess it was somebody else.
Nate the Hate.
Substantiated. I guess Nate the Hate substantiated or whatever, unless Nate the Hate deleted his account, which I can't
But that
imagine
was
he would
first
do.
mentioned in the lawsuit with Sony and Xbox going back and forth on the Activision deal. So that was actually one of the things that leaked out, was that there is an Oblivion remaster or remake, whatever you want to call it, coming. So I'm looking forward to playing that and getting more into Oblivion. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it too, but there is a chance, that being said, that will come to Game Pass and also carry it through to like the fall, which I think Microsoft is at least going to have 2 titles this fall. I think there's going to be Outer Worlds 2. I don't think it's going to be Gears of War or Perfect Dark or Fable, but I do think we're going to get another title. I do think it's going to probably be like not a huge one, but a substantial one. And I'm excited to see what it is. I really don't think they're just going to lean on Outer Worlds 2. I could be wrong. But just knowing Microsoft and how big they are and how many studios they have, I don't think we're going to get Clockwork Revolution 2. So I don't actually know what we're going to get. But I don't think they would make the Outer Worlds 2 the showcase piece if it was if they had these other big ones in the docket. My bros, anything else you have to add before we hit the road?
I don't think so, man. I think we covered it all.
Heck yeah, bros.
Video gaming is way too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
I get a second job.
There you go.
Get a loan. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.